Mingyang Zhang will have his chance to fight for a light heavyweight ranking this weekend against Anthony Smith. I just watched back his fight with Tuco Tucos on Road to UFC. He wobbles Tuco, sticks his tongue out, presses forward, and sits him down with a massive right. Then he keeps punching Tuco's unconscious body until the ref pulls him off. I'm telling you, 4 or 5 nasty ground and pound punches. I get why they're pushing a guy like Zhang. He has 2 first-round finishes in the UFC, and he fights in the light heavyweight division where there's a lot more fluidity outside of the rankings. You've got Brenison Ribeiro, where he slept him with a first-round left hook after he thought he got eye-poked, but Mike Beltran told him to fight on. And then at UFC China this past November, he leans in with a step-in elbow and puts Ozzy Diaz to sleep in the very first round. Zhang is no stranger to finishing his opponents early. He's got 18 wins and 18 first-round finishes, a 100% first-round finish rate. He also has 6 losses and has been finished in 5 of them, but we're going to skip over that. Zhang is a 5-1 favorite this weekend against Anthony Smith, and assuming he's able to get past him, I'm going to build a road to gold for Mingyang Zhang, breaking down a step-to-step path for who he will fight and when he will fight them in order to get to the title. Beating Smith will put Zhang on the 14th or 15th spot in the rankings. Then he'll be looking to push up towards the top 10, where we give him Volkan Oezdemir at UFC Vegas 108 as a main event. This main event will give Zhang some spotlight, and will give Oezdemir the time for a proper training camp. Oezdemir has no room to be talking about fighting up after his loss to Carlos Ulberg, and will be happy to take a main event from the UFC if that contract comes across his desk. Next up is the loser of the Jamal Hill-Khalil Roundtree matchup that is main eventing in Azerbaijan in June. I'm a bigger fan of Khalil, so we're going to put Jamal in this spot. But regardless of who loses, even if it goes to decision, I'm going to assume there's going to be some heavy damage inflicted upon them, and they're going to be needing at least 6 months to recover. This will give them a spot on the main card of UFC 323 in December, where this will be a perfect feature fight for the surging Mingyang Zhang against the staple of the UFC light heavyweight division. A win here puts Zhang right on the edge of that top 5, where he'll be looking for a title eliminating bout with 5 consecutive wins and 3 ranked wins in the past year. This is where Jiri comes into play. He isn't going to be sniffing a title shot anytime soon, with Pereira and Ankalaev doing their rematch. And it's safe to assume, as the second ranked contender in the division, he's going to be fighting against Carlos Ulberg next to see who's going to fight for the belt. I don't really know who wins that fight, but for sake of argument, let's say that Ulberg pushes forward as a new contender and gives fresh blood to a title shot against Pereira or Ankalaev. Jiri is still going to be a top 3 guy in the division, and it's going to have to fight down if he wants to work his way back up. This gives the UFC the perfect opportunity to push their Chinese fighter in a UFC China card, not only fighting a former champion, but fighting a really well-known, respected, and fan-favorite fighter in Jiri. If Zhang gets through Smith, Oezdemir, Hill, and Prochaska all in a row, then he will have done enough to earn a title shot, where he will fight at UFC 335 against Magomed Ankalaev. I don't want it to be Ankalaev, but since he's the light heavyweight champion, we'll give him a placeholder. This will give him 8 months after his title eliminating bout to prepare and be ready to become the first male Chinese UFC champion. Mingyang Zhang is an animal, and he's proved that so far in the UFC. If he scores his 19th first-round finish next weekend against Anthony Smith, there will be no doubt in my mind that he is a problem. But whether he's going to be able to make a title run and fight for the belt by the end of next year is a completely different question. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Feel free to check us out on Instagram and TikTok, where I post the Barn Burner Gazette every week to highlight the upcoming fights, and let me know in the comments what you think about whether Mingyang Zhang is going to be able to touch UFC gold before the end of his career. Like and subscribe to see more videos, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.